How is living in the US as a young kid, Susan? Being an
It's
immigrant?
so
Well, you exactly are not, but being coming from an immigrant family.
so I can't compare it saying like Nepal ma it's like this and US ma yस्तो छ भनेर because I never really grew up in Nepal होइन. But US ma चाहिँ नि as a young kid that comes from an immigrant family होइन, Asian American family, त्यो पनि I grew up in a predominantly African American community होइन. So US ma, I think everyone is already aware that racism is very prevalent across the country. US is a melting pot of different cultures in it. There's no thing as like, oh, this is American भनेर क्या. And so because of that, there's already so much conflict around identity crisis. Ani me growing up in US in a Nepali family in a predominantly African American community, I struggled. I struggled a lot because first of all, I was trying to be American enough, होइन, like American enough, not have an accent. घरमा आएपछि all हामी obviously we're eating dal bhat, we're living a very Nepali life घरमा, and we talk about very Nepali things होइन. But when I go to school, it's a completely different space. Kids that are the same age as me are given more freedom in certain things होइन. Their family allows them to go out with their friends. They are allowed to go to malls. They're allowed to drink and smoke and all of that. And me coming from a Nepali family, things were a bit conservative होइन. And especially as a daughter, my family didn't allow me to go out all the time. I wasn't allowed to date. So these are all things that made me question my identity, because as a kid, you're trying to find yourself. And when you're trying to find yourself and you're living in these two dramatically different cultures and trying to find a balance, it's even hard. So I found it very difficult to find my identity. And I think this went on until my teenage years. And then it came back again, teenage. So when I was around 17, 18, I thought I found myself, because I was like, now I know how to balance my two cultures. I know how to like deal with being Nepali and also being American. But I went to college, and I went to a predominantly white college, a very wealthy college. So coming from a very poor neighborhood, predominantly African American neighborhood, and all of a sudden going to this like very prestigious university where the population is, again, so different from what I'm used to. It's predominantly rich white people that come from wealth and that come from a class that like conversations they're having I've never even heard. People in my community have never heard. So my family's never heard. And so again, I went through another identity crisis where it was like, oh my gosh, like I want to be successful. And when we think of success, we think of these people, the people that are in these universities. But then a part of me was also questioning, like, why should I lose my authentic self just because I'm trying to chase success, So again, I went through this, like, another phase of, like, trying to find myself, identity crisis. And then I found myself again 4 years later. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be who I am. People accept me for who I am. I just need to be confident. I need to be smart. I need to be intelligent. And I think I'll fit in wherever I found myself.
If you love what we are doing, make sure that you subscribe and turn on notification.
Thank you very much for watching us on YouTube. Make sure that you also listen to us on Spotify.
This program is brought to you by Vyas Studios.